Okay,
Good.
hello there. We were just counting the faces here. It's kind of a small group today, so welcome to Coffee with the Councilors, the December version of it. And this is my last Coffee with the Councilors after 5 years? More than that, about 5.5 years. So I guess I'll be saying hello and goodbye and
Can't you stay anyway? Can't you be council?
Waiting, you're gonna sit out for a year and then come.
I'll forget it.
With the counselor, next counselor? Can't we do that?
Coffee with a sometime counselor. And of course, we have Lisa here who is going to stick around. Are you planning on doing any more coffee with the counselors?
I'm gonna keep going.
Okay,
And if Gary wants to join me, that'd be great. If not, we could have rotating people.
that's true.
That would be a way to do it.
That's
Just
true.
have rotating,
Good.
whoever's free that Monday will come in and sit as the other
Yeah.
counselor.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Toastmaster, so I'm not, I don't have your skills at leading a meeting, so it's gonna be kind of rocky at first, like, hey, what do you want?
That's kind of your normal personality.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, what's to be?
Audio skills.
You might be getting some requests to change the time and the day too, because people have said that they aren't always available at 10 a.m. on Monday.
Right, it's very limited though, because this room has to be available too. And so I'm not sure what the schedule is.
And
Going
Rusty
forward.
has to be available too.
Right, we have to have
us
Rusty, and
going.
we have to have, and Bruce has to, be so we have to have staff
Yeah.
available.
Remember the
too.
good old days when we did the little.
Yeah.
And we really had coffee.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Go to the
Where you came in.
bowl or something.
Yeah.
Sea level.
All right, well, let's get started. We will go ahead and we've got the whole first row here of people, and then we will talk to people on Zoom. So Craig, what would you like to talk about today?
I don't have any issues with them in the listening mode and
Okay,
sparked my interest, so I won't hesitate to speak up.
okay, sounds
Never
good.
do.
All right, Debbie, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I have a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up. So the first thing that I had, I'll try. to keep it-
We're just doing topics right now, and then we'll go back, and then we'll go
Right.
back and talk to
Oh,
what you
okay.
want.
I'm sorry, I have it.
So what would you, what are your topics?
Okay, so the first topic would be oh, I don't know what you call it, the zone, the thing that you guys had the workshop session last week.
Housing.
Housing, thank you, Jan.
Okay,
Housing, and it's just a brief thing on that. And then the other thing has to do with emergency management.
with emergency management. All right. Jan, what would you like?
So if there is one, a little bridge update,
Okay,
and if there is one, a little wall update.
okay, I don't,
That's-
Dan's not here right now.
Starters, hopefully Daniel will come.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be here or not today. This is the week before Christmas, so it gets a little loose. Okay, Rex, speaking of loose,
I just want to make a statement.
all right, okay, a statement, all right, this could be scary, all right. All right, and Diane?
Here to listen and support.
The statement.
His statement. Kick him out of the room if it gets too much. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And Daryl.
I want to talk about the Cannon Beach Conference Center.
Okay. Valerie?
Well, I'm just here to, because we're new in town, just get a little feel of Cannon Beach government and.
Good luck.
Well, it's interesting. Let's put it that way. Okay, Jenny, what would you like to talk about?
Rafting.
You are muted.
There she goes.
There you
No,
go.
I'm not wrapping, I'm tracing a quilt pattern.
Oh, okay.
I don't have too much, an informational item, and I'll just say it now. I don't need to go back later. I stopped by the
Okay.
Wayfair today because they have an angel tree up.
Oh, yeah.
So you can pick angels, and there were still quite a few, mostly kids and teenagers. So if you feel like it, stop by the Wayfair and get some angels. And when you bring them back, they put you in a drawing for I'm sure, a gift certificate to the Wayfarer.
There's elderly people in that, on that tree too. So there's seniors on the tree as well. And this year they had big lists on the tags of things. And I think that didn't work out as well because last year they had just a couple on each tag and you could take 2 or 3 tags. This year you have to do like a whole shopping for the whole list if you want to
I don't
get
think-
the list.
You don't need to get everything on the list. I mean, some of them have
No.
bikes on them.
Yeah, I know, or snowboards. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, they really have a lot of tags left, you know.
Well,
so.
do you have to wrap the presents?
No,
Yes, you did. Well, yeah, you do.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you're
they
supposed to
them.
wrap them.
I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
wrap them.
I've been wrapping them for hours.
Well,
We were
good.
just at the Wayfair and there were wrapped presents.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You need to put the tag on so they know what's.
you put the
Yeah,
tag back
sure.
on and you circle the things that you purchased on each kid's list.
Yeah,
So
I'm
is
not
there-
sure that they keep the wrapping on. At least most angel trees, they check to make sure you did buy appropriate things and aren't putting something weird in there, but maybe here you don't need to worry
Yeah, I
about it.
think this one, they do keep them wrapped, so.
Yeah, and I
Maybe-
think they do have a wrapping session, I think, probably end of this week or in the middle of this week.
Yeah.
What about the Legion? They have huge piles of presents all over the place. Is that coordinated with what's happening?
That's their angel tree.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah,
They're all, this is the Legion sponsoring the one at the Wayfair.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
was told.
Yeah.
Nancy Teagle's in charge of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's all right. Okay, got it. All right.
yeah.
I also
All right.
think Suzanne Elise, the assisted living in Seaside, might have a tree there for their needy residents.
Okay, great. Betsy, what would you like to talk about today? Betsy?
I think we just lost her.
Did we lose Betsy?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Maybe she'll come back.
Okay. Dale, what would you like to talk about today?
Hey there, things are going fine with me. I just had some work on the computer today, so I thought since I'm sitting in front of the computer trying to get things done, I would listen in. So whatever you folks want to talk about, just go for it. And I'll just sit here and listen. Thanks.
Okay. Steve, what would you like to talk about today?
Hi, I'm just listening also, see
Okay.
what's going on this morning.
All
Thank you.
right. Okay. And Randy, what would you like to talk about today?
Can we get an update on the RFP process?
An update on the,
RFP process.
are you talking about the,
I think he's.
Contractor? are you talking about the contractor for City Hall?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. We have so many RFPs out there. Who knows? Okay.
And Betsy's back.
Betsy, what would you like to talk about today?
I heard my name and then the screen went black.
That happens to me at the theater a lot when I have to press buttons on the computer for the lights.
I didn't touch anything. Anyway, the Wi-Fi in Cannon Beach, I'd like to complain about that, but I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah, me too.
Geez, anyway, and I guess, the city probably can't do anything about this, but last night when I was driving through town and it was after dark, and we've had a lot of conversations about dark skies and continue to talk about that. And I tell you what, that floodlight on the top of the post office at 6 o'clock at night when they should have taken the flag down at sunset, right? Is that still a deal in the United States or does that not?
unless it's illuminated.
Unless it's illuminated. Well, it's
Oh.
illuminated apparently.
Well, it's not only illuminated, it's just like they can probably see that light from Mars. I mean, it is really bright. So that's my comment for today. Thank
Okay.
you.
I can address that.
Okay.
Full stop.
All right, well, let's get started. Debbie, you wanted to talk about housing.
Yes, I just had one comment, actually. I attended your work session, or I think that's what it was called last week. And the only thing that I wanted to mention was there's some exemptions for the owner occupancy requirement that was discussed. And I noticed on the list in here that they had to provide a lease agreement if they were going to rent it out during the period for the exemption. Like if somebody's in the military or taking care of a sick relative or job relocation or whatever, that they could rent it out during that period of time, but that they would have to provide a specific lease to get that exemption. And I think that's a good idea, but the only thing that I wanted to mention about that, because I'm a landlord, is that and I'm sure the attorneys would be looking at this, but they want to pay attention to the landlord tenant requirements in the state of Oregon. Because when those people want to come back to their property, regardless of how long that lease term is, they're required under the law to give at least 90 days notice. So if they're required to rent it out, that could be problematic for someone being able to get back to their house.
Okay, so let's set the scene here a little bit. We're talking about the vacancy tax.
Well, not the vacancy tax, but yes.
Okay. Right.
And that's,
Sorry, I got it mixed up with the landlord lease.
So this is a proposal by the city council. Well, no, it's a proposal to the city council that a tax be established on houses that are vacant for a certain amount of time. Nothing has been decided.
Right.
We're in the middle of a discussion. We have other options that we're also looking at. This information was contained in the packet from last week, was it last Wednesday?
Mhm.
I got my meetings. kind of-
Wednesday or Thursday.
Last Thursday. So if people wanted to take a look at that, they can go to the packet that was provided for last Thursday night's meeting. And that information that Debbie is referring to is at the end, I think, of the.
Yeah, it's
of
on the
discussion.
actual 3 amendments owner occupancy
This
requirements.
is Thursday. I can't remember.
Well,
Yeah.
It was, I forget. what
Last
day.
week.
I think
But
it's last week.
yeah, I know there was a lot of reaction to that whole idea of a vacancy tax, and all it is we're just exploring any options we can. We're not going to say no to one before we have even educated ourselves about it, because that would be dumb.
Right.
So we're trying really hard to just find out how it works in other jurisdictions, if it's even feasible, what the appetite is for it, if it would help solve the problems we have. We don't know any of those answers. We just were trying to gather information, and that Alyssa from the county had some information for us, and that was it. So, but you're right, there's so many variables that we haven't even thought about yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that if that's.
That's an interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good, nobody mentioned that during the
Right.
session, so that's a good thing to
So I just
remember.
wanted to mention that they
Yeah.
want to pay attention to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because it could be problematic.
Everything would have to be reviewed by an attorney anyway, or city attorney. So, I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. And hopefully they would look at that. I would think so. The other issue that I wanted to bring up with regard to that emergency situation with the tsunami sirens. And I was really surprised, I guess, to hear from a neighbor just a couple of days ago that the tsunami sirens are not working since the malfunction, 6 months ago? It's my understanding that the motherboard was removed, but there's no repairs. They can't repair it. And so I think that the majority, or I shouldn't say majority, many people in the community, if not a lot of people in the community, are unaware that we don't have a emergency siren at this time.
Okay, Bruce, can you give us an update on this?
Yeah, we're in the process, let me see, we took it over from the fire department. And it's an old system, I think, maybe 40, 50 years old. And there's not a lot of it that's working right. And so it'll be coming before the council to discuss whether or not we want to replace the system. It's not repairable anymore. So we'll be talking about that. And I hope that we will actually do the replacement, because one of the shortcomings this last tsunami was that people got it in different ways, but you could have gotten the same one that somebody got that was in California. And there's no real local information there.
Yeah.
Well, can we have it on the council sooner rather than later?
We're still getting information on it.
Okay, because I didn't realize myself that it was completely non-functional.
Yeah, I knew they were repairing it, but
I
I didn't
know,
realize
that
it was
was
not a
months ago.
repairable
But that was,
situation.
that process, as we found, is not.
Especially now that there's a lot of like smaller earthquakes happening, different
Mhm.
places, it should
Understood.
be. I mean, I think it's really important that we do
Understood.
it right away.
Yeah.
What about the Nixle that, you can sign up for that?
Mhm.
What does that tell us then? What you said you didn't get anything on
I
it.
got nothing.
I thought somebody did get something.
I-
Well, I got emails, texts saying there's been a earthquake in California, just announced, because I'm signed up on every site I can be to, because I want to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, but that doesn't tell you what's happening here. Doesn't give you any information about whether you need to be worried about here. So you just know that it happened there,
And it was my understanding too, that with that tsunami, I found out about it because I happened to see it on social media. But, if you're at work or, out on the beach or whatever, you wouldn't get that information unless you're signed up for all the alerts. But it's my understanding that the state of Oregon shut down all of the Oregon beaches during that. And I did not even hear about that until the next day.
Yeah, they shut down all the accesses, but they didn't go down the beach sent to people who were on the beach at the time saying, get off the beach or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
They shut off the accesses.
So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't think the community is aware that we don't really have a strong emergency system
I know.
right now for notifications.
like our cow, people still think we have the cow.
Right, yeah.
Is there any way that our new emergency manager could maybe make a report on that and tell us where what status is?
Sure.
And like maybe the next council session or
Yeah, there's several people.
tomorrow, but
Yeah, there's several people working on it.
okay.
I heard that that there's a grant being applied for. Maybe he was going to a meeting yesterday or something like that. A possible grant for a new system. But I was also thinking, well, if we have a reserve funds, abundant reserves, then maybe that should be directed to our emergency system. So just a thought.
Reserves are reserved for specific items and they can't be really removed for another item.
Okay.
But I don't know what our funding is for emergency management.
We are applying for the grant and we'll be bringing it to the council probably, again, not tomorrow, but probably the next workshop.
Okay. So stay tuned.
Jan, what happened, another reason that we want to do something locally is that the Nextel, I think, comes from the county. And the county made a decision not to send it out.
Oh, because they thought it wouldn't affect us? Okay.
Yeah, I think there was an advisory that went out, but then they canceled it like
Yeah.
within an hour or something.
Yeah, it was very soon afterwards because I think it was just really Florence and South.
Right, and
Yeah.
South, yeah.
So.
Anyway, thank you.
Mhm, sure. Jan, I don't think Karen is with us today.
She's on vacation, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so. Bruce, do you have an update on either the bridge or the wall?
I can give an update on both.
Okay.
As far as the bridge, we have completed the geologic testing. That was done. You probably saw the guys out there last week. So that's done. They've taken that information back and they'll be working on it. And the idea is that they will be talking to us about the feasibility of repairing the bridge in some way, or strengthening the bridge. So that's one part. And as far as the wall, there was an agreement between the city's attorney, the city's prosecutor in our court system, and the attorneys for the parties with the wall. And it was agreed that they would move the case to February.
To February,
Yes.
okay. And do you know if the owners of the wall, did they ever dispute what the city said that the wall was out of compliance? Was there a legal, anything written or?
I don't know if there was any information went to Daniel when he was out talking to them, but they've not been required to respond yet. And that's what'll happen in February.
Okay, thank you.
It would seem to me that if it's gone to trial, there must be some dispute,
Well, that's what I wondered, but we don't know.
but I don't know that for
Not
sure.
And it
necessarily,
could be decided
I mean, not necessarily
not
factual.
February, as I understand it. It could be decided between the city's lawyer, I guess it's Ashley Lukinger.
Yes.
And then it could be decided between the lawyer of the people of the wall
Mhm.
out of court. Is that right?
But I believe it would have to be brought back to the judge.
To the judge, okay. Okay,
They
thank,
might have a proposed settlement, but,
okay, needs to be done in public, that
all
part.
right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, is that it, Jan?
Hmm.
I just asked Jan if that was it.
For now.
Okay, all right. Okay, Rex, it's up to you. You get to make a statement.
Yes, it's so important I have to stand up
Oh, my God. Watch out.
and I have to read it.
Oh,
Sorry to see you go, Nancy. Not that you were ever fancy, but we really liked your style, which took you many a mile through work in an overpaid job, representing this village mob.
and he points to Daryl.
We hope you like your wages. Oh, that haven't risen for ages. So you have to keep on working because another job is lurking, which could use your wit and always welcome grit. So please make your submission to the Planning Commission. And in order to help you, support you, Diana and I sacrificed from our library this very light book of very heavy wisdom.
Oh, thank you. Let's go. World's worst proverbs.
The world's worst proverb.
It kind of looks like Rex on the front. Thank you, Rex. I hardly ever see you without your hats.
Too cold.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I have no idea what the future holds at the moment. There are a few ideas lurking around, but at the moment, I don't have any real clear idea what I'm going to do. Except maybe, talk to my cats and see what they have to say. My future. Thank you very much. Okay, and with that, we will talk to Daryl about the conference center.
Yeah, I've been down here almost 25 years and I know the conference center has been here since the 40s. But it seems to me like the way they operate is so not transparent. I'm really curious about what exemptions they have. I mean, a church gets exempt from paying taxes, but it's a huge piece of property in downtown Cannon Beach. And so I wanted to know, do they pay property taxes for their buildings? They obviously built a new facility kitchen down there this past year. And also, they rent rooms out to the people that are going to school there. And so my feeling is, shouldn't they be paying room tax like I do for the people that are going to school there? So to me, I've never quite understood what they pay and what is exempt for them.
I actually made a request for information about just those issues at one time and was told that I really am not privy to a lot of the information I wanted, that it wasn't something that I could legally request. So I don't understand that, and I didn't follow up on it. I think Ashley told me that it's information I could not have, that I did request. I don't understand that, and I should probably ask some more questions, but maybe Bruce can tell us something about it. It makes no sense to me.
I can give you some, but I can't give you specifics. But generally, the facilities that they own that are of a religious nature those are exempt from property taxes. They do own a number of properties that they rent out, and they pay property taxes, and they pay room tax on those.
They also pay the food tax too on their,
Yes.
for
They,
their
they pay what?
food tax.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Trying to figure out which properties are rented and which are subject to the exemptions. I had a hard time getting any information on that. I don't know why that would be private information. It seems, 'cause it's all sort of public record, I thought.
You would
But
think so.
I mean, my feeling is it's, are the taxpayers being ignored on what they can, I mean, if you're teaching conservative Christian lessons, okay, that's a right you have, but just, it's not a church. So I'm still confused about why they should be exempt from certain things that say the community church is exempt from. So anyways, I still feel like there's a lot of misnomer about how they operate. And the other thing that bugs me is the fact that their mission statement, they certainly do not embrace LGBT folks. And so that's a big negative in my mind.
do they say anything negative, or they specifically say they do not?
Well, it's somewhat vague about how they approach that, but it's certainly, they're not opening up their their arms to that group of people.
Yeah. I'd sure like to.
Mission statement.
One other thing, I have heard, and I can't remember how, but they do, I think they're the largest water user
They are,
in this.
Yes.
yes.
That's important for us to know.
Mhm.
It is like, it's run like a hotel in many ways, and so for them to not have to be paying like a hotel does, if they are behaving like a hotel, it's interesting and
Yeah.
concerning sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially for me with our water,
right.
that's a big deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're using all of the facilities that the rest of us are
It's
using.
basically a big hotel, a huge
Yeah.
hotel, the biggest probably
Mhm.
in the city. And so I don't understand legally how it all works.
And the water rates that they pay, are they the same as everybody else? They don't get a break on the water rates, do they?
They don't.
No, and they pay, it's the rate that they pay is based on the meter size. It'll be a large meter.
Bruce, could we put that on a future agenda, do you think, to have, because a lot of people ask questions about it, and if Ashley could explain
Yeah.
why we don't have access to information, all the things that she said to me,
Right.
but an explanation as to why.
Yeah, I just made a note for it.
Good, that'd be good, because I think it's not just this group that has questions. I've heard it from lots of people, wondering what the heck is going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could invite the executive director to speak.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yes,
That would be
I do
interesting.
know that the lodging that they have there is for specifically for the conferences. You can't just go rent a room
No.
and stay there. You're coming to a conference.
Yeah, everything's tied
By
together.
the way, are open to anybody can attend those conferences at no charge. It's just the lodging is part of that. And then the students, there's a separate building for the college students that they reside in. But the other people that are working at the conference center are provided housing.
Yeah, that is true.
So that would not be like a hotel. They're working
Not that,
there and
right.
it's employer provided housing.
When you say school, what do you mean, college, school?
Yeah, they have access to colleges, I think.
They actually,
People by college,
But isn't
yeah.
there also a culinary school?
Well, the culinary school
Seaside.
uses the facilities there. It was
Yeah.
actually, I think it was started by John Newman many
It
years ago.
was.
Yeah.
It was.
So the culinary school is there also.
Yeah.
They sell their products out of the
Seaside.
North Coast
Family Fellowship?
Church, yeah.
Yeah.
But they do pay food tax for that, for that.
Yeah, I bought some, I paid it.
Yeah, went through that,
Yeah.
that whole discussion, yeah.
So I don't have a lot of information. I just know some because I have friends that live and work there, so. And have known people that have worked there for many years.
Valerie, did you have something?
Yeah, I just had a comment. Their 501c3 status should be public information. And they probably have some for-profit functions for which they pay the same taxes as everybody else. So that at least, now their tax returns are private, but their status should not be.
Okay.
So they may have a for-profit branch of it that's not for-profit, that is under Oregon law or federal law, is mostly Oregon law, is subject to the same rules that everybody else has to pay.
Yeah, I know last year they bought this year they bought a multifamily unit somewhere where I think it was like around Gower Street. Or not Gower, but Dawes. For their students for the college. I know that because I go through all the listing about.
Yeah,
it.
another
Yeah.
house I saw they bought on coming into town, and the motel, I believe.
Yeah,
That
they own the
adorable
motel.
little motel on the corner.
Yeah, they've had that for a long time.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's rented out to the public or if it's just rented out.
It's rented out to, as I understand it, it's rented out to people who are attending conferences there at the center. And when they have room, they rent it out to people who are just here for the,
Okay.
overnight, that aren't related to the, so it's a kind of a combination.
Okay.
As I understand it, but they own, I think, several houses in this area too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they own one right behind mine.
Yeah.
So they're good neighbors, by the way. What's that?
Just saying, somebody keeps raising their hand up. there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Can you hear FedEx just delivered? I think if you went on the Clatsop County web map that for property, you could probably search out which of their properties had tax assessed and paid and which had no assessment.
Yeah, yeah. Web maps are very valuable,
It is, it's really interesting.
very interesting,
That
yeah,
is public knowledge,
Yeah.
easy to find.
Yeah.
Which ones they're paying, yeah,
yeah.
but anything beyond that, maybe, because she thought I was asking for their tax returns, maybe.
It would be really nice to have the executive director come to a meeting and
Explain.
it's such a kind of a mystery in many ways to the public. And also, I mean, I think they're the biggest property owner in the town.
Yeah.
So it would be great if we could invite him and have him come, or her, I think it's a him now. And that would be wonderful.
Just explain what's,
It
yeah,
would be great.
And there is some information at their website.
it's pretty limited.
That's true, but there is some, yeah.
All right. Anybody else want to make any comments about that? Okay.
Opened a can of worms.
Yes.
That's what, yeah, all these questions, give me the feedback.
Yeah. All right, Betsy wants to talk about the dark sky ordinance and the floodlight at the post office. So,
Just get Valerie.
And I could talk about the dark sky thing, Betsy, because we have a group of people, citizens, just like we had for the wetlands ordinance and for the tree ordinance, there's a group of people who are working on the dark skies, and it got stopped or delayed because of trying to get the tree ordinance to a certain point. And now that it's sort of going, the tree ordinance is now, the community meetings are over and it went to the planning commission and it's going to go to the council. So the dark sky will resume after the holidays with, and if anyone else wants to join the group, Darrell is in the group and Stacy Benefield is in the group, Les is in the group, Les St. Clair. And Eric, our new council member, is in the group and I am as well. So there's, it's nice to have, we have two hotel owners basically in the group, which is great because they're going to be really affected by the dark sky ordinance. And we've been looking at ordinances from all over the state. Right now, we're sort of hung up because we had someone from Pacific Power come in and speak to us about replacing all the downtown lights with new lights,
LED.
LED lights. And they would do it for us, but the kelvins the range of kelvins that they do it in is a little bit on the bluer side than our dark sky group thought was a really great range, and looking at other communities and what range they have. So right now we're sort of, that's going to be our next discussion, and maybe go back to the Pacific Power and ask them if it's possible for them to do that same great deal for the city and maybe have the light a little bit warmer, but we don't know at this point.
They have amber lights in other areas.
Yeah, but this is paid for and installed by them. So that's what we were hoping for, but we'll see.
And
They might
it's
say,
expensive for them to do that too, isn't it?
yeah, well, they maintain them too. It's really amazing. I mean, they put them in and maintain them. Gower Street here will be a little different because this has a sort of old fashioned lights, and we don't really want those to go away. Cause it's sort of, the right around the city hall. But anyway, so we're gonna have, those discussions are ongoing and we're working on it. And if a dark sky ordinance comes before the city for open discussion, definitely the lights have to be shielded. They have to face downward. They can only be a certain amount. They have to be certain kelvins, certain warmth, and they have to be a certain brightness, and they cannot, it also will have something to do with vacation rentals or part-time owners, second homeowners. We have these floodlights all over their house, which are on all night. All those things are going to be, part of the discussion. So,
Especially on the neighbors is the big thing. They shine off.
I have the same problem. They're never there. I mean, they're there a couple weeks a year, but the lights are just every night.
The lights that have the sensor when you walk by, and all of a sudden it blasts at you when you go walking by somebody's house.
Well, those are safety things, and I think that those will still, we've looked at those and think that that's something that has to happen. But they don't have to stay on for half an hour. They can stay on for a certain amount of time and limit that amount of time. You also have to give businesses and homeowners a certain amount of time to phase into it. You can't say, well, tomorrow you got to change all your lights. For some people, that's going to be very expensive, for businesses especially. So you have to give them a phase in time that's fair, and that has to be written into it. So you have to really make sure you try and address different concerns, especially financial ones. And so I think that there seems to be an appetite for it in the community, but it has to be done in a way that isn't, putting a huge burden on people. You have to do it gently.
Well, we do have regulations now that people do have to follow. And they're not exactly dark sky specific, but there are some regulations that have to be followed. Betsy's specific question, though, was the floodlight at the post office.
Well, that shouldn't, I don't know if there's a government regulation about that one because of flag. I don't think so. I've never seen it anyway. And I think that definitely is out of compliance with even the dark sky ordinance we have in effect right now. So, I wish Daniel was, our code enforcement guy, was here. But if you could remember to bring it at the next meeting when he's here, and we'll talk to him about it right here on the spot and why that is, happening.
Bruce, do you have any?
I agree.
Any thoughts on that floodlight?
I think it's going to be related to the flag. If you're going to post a flag at night,
Yeah.
it has to be lit. And I don't know I think there probably are some requirements for what kind of light you use.
It usually is from the bottom going up to the
Yeah.
flag instead of out some belt.
But it doesn't have to be that bright, does it? Does it have to be?
No.
You need to be able to see the flag, and that's basically,
Hmm.
Usually they're from the bottom going up.
Is that a federal law or something?
I think it might.
No, it says the United States flag code doesn't specify how to properly illuminate a flag, but there are some guidelines to follow.
I mean,
Hopefully that flag
for-
needs to be
for me-
retired because it's tattered.
for me, you know, at my place, there's a street light that's just across the street from me, and it actually illuminates the front of my place. So I really don't need any light there. And the same thing downtown, you've got street lights, which definitely illuminate the flag. Why intensify by having you know, 150-watt bulb shooting down that's, you know, 20 feet up in the air? Doesn't make any sense.
Other than whether or not, as Craig says, it might be a regulation of some kind, federal,
But yeah, it'd be interesting to look.
something to look into,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Yeah.
The Dark Sky Group can look into that too. But
Okay, great. And then Randy wanted to know about the RFP for the contractor. Randy, did you have any questions? Do you want to expand on that?
Well, I assume we've received all the bids and I'm assuming that's getting a review currently and we'll come back with a recommendation sometime soon.
Actually, the recommendation will be at tomorrow's meeting.
it's on the agenda for tomorrow, Randy.
Oh, okay.
If you want to take a look at who the contractor is that's being recommended and also the contract itself, it's in the packet for tomorrow night's meeting. So if you want to go to the website, city website, and look up the city council meeting for tomorrow night, you can just check that packet. And all that
What was the
information
issue
in
with
there.
the old? What was the issue with the former contractor?
I think I'll let Bruce talk about that.
Randy, I just want to be careful because I don't want to get in a situation that the city gets sued or anything. But we had some concerns about the way they were dealing with the subcontractors. And some of the jobs weren't moving and progressing the way that they should have. And so we thought it was best to make a change.
And we have things in place to check that for this next group of contractors?
Yes,
So they've been thoroughly vetted, right?
yes.
Okay. You have any other questions, Randy?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to talk about? We've got plenty of time.
I do have another question.
Sure, Debbie.
Back on that community emergency
Mhm.
system thing. So, I was just curious if there's any way currently, since we don't have any kind of community alert system with the sirens, is there any way that the community can be made aware that that's not working, so they're not relying on it? I'd hate to see, honestly, a situation like happened in Lahaina last year.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty heartbreaking.
Well, yeah,
I think most of the community just does not know about. this.
right. And I think we have to have it. So I don't, I mean, to me, it's kind of an incredibly high priority to get this straightened out.
There are alternatives, Nixle, and I forgot there's other ones too, which actually will contact you directly. And that's what we're relying on now, but we still think that we should replace the system.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people think that they are still relying on
Yes.
hearing
Yes.
the siren.
Yes,
Cow, and they don't know that it's inoperable.
yeah, and actually what they'll hear is a voice, they won't hear the cow.
Hmm?
They only hear the cow when we're testing it. But they'll hear a voice saying,
Right.
you know, tsunami coming.
Have that right now.
No, we don't even have
Yeah.
that,
We don't have anything.
evidently. Yeah.
And I think that as a whole, the community does not know that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if there's a way to at least let the community know that we don't even have that right now. They should not be waiting to hear that siren if there's an emergency.
Betsy, did you have something?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm
Betsy?
Yes. I'm just I'm just curious about this. It's an interesting conversation. I have an app on my iPhone that's called Quake Feed, and I get alerts through that as well. But I think what is how does the city communicate non-emergency information to everybody that lives here? Is
Well,
there?
we have a citywide text that we use. It comes through the police department. You can sign up for it.
That's Nixle.
Right.
But there's Nixle that's kind of a county-wide, and then there's a,
There's lots of alerts, just
Okay.
from the county, and then we can send out Nixle notices.
okay. So, but they sign up through where?
On the website, there's a link to all the signups on there.
5 things on the
Correct.
website.
Right.
On the city website,
Correct.
on the city
But
website.
if you were walking on the beach or if you're, I mean, it'd be, having a siren is a really, or
Well, I get that. Yeah, I'm just wondering, just in general, how information gets out to everybody who lives in this city. So it sounds like Nixle maybe is the way to go. Which I think, you have to, I don't know how many people, I assume the majority of people are kind of with the internet, but not everybody is.
not everybody is.
Everybody even knows about it.
Just for clarification, so there is a Nixle site that the city runs and a Nixle site that the county runs? Is that what you said, Rusty?
The city has a Nixle, which is run by the police department, so they can push out notices.
Please, okay,
Lots of alerts is through the county.
okay.
And
Yeah, I like-
our website is where you can sign up for the local one.
It'll point you to the places to sign up, correct?
Okay. And
And I get one through Seaside too, so.
Yeah, you could, CSET has their own, so you could sign up for that too as well.
Yeah, when you're driving through Seaside, you might want to know what's coming.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then on a
Seen that
different
video.
yeah, no kidding. On a different subject, I know the council's been talking about it. I would like to just support the idea that the conversation about banning gas lawn equipment,
Leaf blowers, yeah.
Not just the leaf blowers, because really they're horribly polluting. And, I don't want to see somebody who's trying to earn a living taking care of somebody else's lawn, have to buy an expensive piece of equipment. But I definitely think it should be some kind of a requirement that, or, suggestion. Because, yeah, I mean, the noise pollution that we have here is, a lot of people come to the beach or live here like me, who just enjoy the sound of nature and don't really want to listen to exhaust fans or someone's yard being taken care of on just a constant basis. You really have to almost go right down onto the beach to get away from noises that are caused by people. So
Even Portland has outlawed gas leaf blowers now. They're phasing it out. It's 18 months,
Good.
giving time for people to replace gas blowers with other kinds. And I saw this, Make America Rake Again.
Well, my neighbor rakes his lawn and I always thank him for that. It's just it's such a nice sound, and I don't know, it's good exercise.
Yeah, I made money as a kid raking people's lawns.
So did
I mean,
I.
that's how I made my pocket money.
That was my first,
Yeah.
Now
jobs.
And now they tell you you're supposed to just leave the leaves all over every place, just for the pollinators and all little.
For the nitrogen.
Well, the nitrogen, except for alders, that's kind of, but anyway, that we're having an insect apocalypse. You may have noticed that there's never any dead insects on your windshield anymore. And that a lot of those animals, or I guess they're animals, they live in old leaf piles. So I recommend not raking your lawn in any form whatsoever. And if you're lazy like I am, it's perfect. It's my perfect excuse.
There's an excuse.
I'm saving the insects.
Well, we will be, on another topic, tomorrow, we will start conversations on the, what are we gonna do with, the school property. I'm not sure how deep the discussion will go, but, at least it's going to get started tomorrow. So tomorrow night, meeting, it starts at 6 o'clock. So you might want to tune in on that one as well and let people know, because there's been so much discussion about how we just didn't let the public talk about it very much. So trying to let people know that the discussions will be starting. But of course, that's with the old city council, and the new city council will be making the decisions. I'm sure we won't be making any decisions tomorrow night. So, yeah. So we get to turn it over to you.
Yeah, geez, I'm gonna really miss you being here. No, and your Toastmaster skills, you're so skilled at running a meeting and getting everybody included, and I don't even imagine that I can come close.
Oh,
But I'll try, and you guys can tell me when I'm going off the rails. I know, I've been watching her carefully. So, yeah, and then if we can't find another counselor who's willing to come at this time, we can rotate them.
Yeah.
Like, maybe 1 week Gary can come, another week Eric can come, another, and just have a person so that the community can get a chance to have.
That would be a better solution to rotate so they get to see the different councils.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
So just keep running the job.
Oh, I tried that. I suggested that and she just,
I'm not elected. I won't be elected anymore, so it doesn't count. Doesn't count. Yeah. I might have the institutional memory from the last 17 years.
I probably have PTSD from the last.
I was thinking today, this is the anniversary of the day that I moved into my first house in Cannon Beach in 2001. So I've had, at least property here for 23 years and lived here full time for 17 years. And it's been quite an adventure, I'll tell you, especially the last 8 years for some reason. But
North side.
yeah, I'm a refugee from the north side. But they still include me, so I appreciate that a lot. But it's been a very interesting 8 years. We've accomplished quite a bit, and we haven't accomplished some that I would have liked. And we will see what happens with the new council. I will be watching, as I told Bruce and some of the councilors, Barb, and that I'm going to be looking in on Zoom and putting myself on mute and screaming when I want to. So
make sure you mute yourself.
yeah, be sure I will mute, because I'm sure I want to break in and say, but, or ask questions. But anyway, I will leave it up to the good people of the new city council to make the decisions. And if I feel like I want to interject, I might do that in some way or other.
And we have a retreat actually with the old and new council. We just can't get the new council. We can't find times where everybody can be here during December. So we're now going to have to try and bring you and Brandon back for these retreat meetings.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we have that group. I think it's not a retreat unless we have you guys there.
And it will be a public meeting as well too. So, and I know Jennifer's been trying to herd cats, and it's just impossible lately. Trying to get 7 people to find a day or a day and a half or 2 days worth of, space that we can all agree on. So, because it will take about that much time. We have a lot of issues to deal with in this small city, and a lot of very important issues that we need to continue to work on. And we have dealt with quite a few big issues in the last 8 years, which I'm very proud of. But the work continues, and the new city council gets to do that. And I
Don't look at me like.
She says with a big smile on her face.
But I saw a tear in Lisa.
Jennifer?
I just want a quick update, on the conference center, room tax records are actually exempt from public disclosure.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
Oh.
so they're not allowed to be disclosed.
Yeah.
So wait,
that's-
say it again. I just want to understand it.
So room tax amounts are exempt records. So, because what can happen then is if you release them, people can figure out information about the business and their revenue and things coming in. So those are actually exempt records.
Because it's competitive information, is that
And
right?
it's for any
Room tax.
room tax. You can't find out which facility is generating a certain amount of room tax.
Correct. Now, beyond that, internally for us, all of the room taxes for each entity, even if they have multiple buildings, go into one account.
Oh,
So the conference center, what was the other one? Not Martin anymore. Cirksand. Anybody with multiple buildings all go to one account. So we can't tell you which of their buildings generate the most revenue anyways. But we can tell you as a whole, well, we can't tell you because it's exempt, but we can see what what the entity as a whole has collected, not the individual locations.
is that like a federal rule or a state rule or?
Our code doesn't specify that it needs to be broken out. And so back when they were, many years ago, when they were setting this up, that's how they did it.
Okay.
But is it because the state or the federal government requires them not to set it, not to designate which one? Or is it just our code that has left it out?
I'm not sure on that because I don't know. I'm going to make a guess that it would possibly be a tracking nightmare to manage that many more accounts than just one, but I'm not sure. I'm not in finance, but I do know that all are lumped in one. And our code doesn't specify it. There's a spot in here I was trying to. Our ordinance does not require that nightly rentals units be reported separately based on separate buildings or tax lots.
That's
So-
why that was what she meant then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And do you have any more information on the retreat dates?
We're getting really close. So it looks like, I got the last two answers over the weekend. We're looking at, I believe it was the 9th and 10th. I have a couple questions for you, Lisa. At the end, I'll grab my schedule and we'll look at it, but I haven't sent an email out to the whole council yet, but it's looking like there's some time slots there that are gonna work.
Okay,
So email will go out later today.
okay, great. So you hear that? And it's a public meeting, so
It is a public
yeah, and it'll be recorded as well.
and on Zoom.
And on Zoom, yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
All right, anything else we want to add? Bruce, anything you want to add?
Thank you for all you've done
Oh,
over the years.
no, thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, actually. Well, okay.
Let's not get over
Yeah,
Strike that for the record.
I think you need to applaud.
Pass your. Very much. And I will take my world's receipts, study them.
You better study it.
All right. Well, then I think if this coffee with the counselors, if there's nothing else, we will end a little early today. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you. And I'm sure I'll see you next year. Yeah, some of you.
Harangue you to join other groups. Don't worry. You're not off the hook.
Well, thank you very much and happy holidays. We'll see you next year.